Today we're talking about Rust for systems programming. This is where Rust truly shines. Operating systems, kernels, embedded systems, device drivers, game engines, databases, browsers. This is Rust's home turf. And yes, today we are finally going to talk about memory, pointers, low-level control, and something you've probably been curious, and maybe a little scared, about: unsafe Rust. Don't worry. By the end of this video, unsafe Rust won't feel scary. It'll feel powerful and controlled. Let's start from the ground up. When we say systems programming, we're talking about software that talks directly to memory, manages resources manually, interacts with hardware or the OS, needs deterministic performance, cannot afford garbage collection pauses, needs to be fast, predictable, and safe. Traditionally, this meant C and C++. Rust enters this world and says, what if we had the same power without memory corruption? That's the promise of Rust. Let's start with memory layout. You've heard this before, but now we're going deeper. This is stack allocation. X and Y live on the stack. The stack is fast, fixed size, and automatically cleaned up when the function exits. Now compare that to heap allocation. That vector allocates memory on the heap. The variable v on the stack only stores a pointer, a length, and a capacity. The actual data lives somewhere else. Rust tracks all of this at compile time. That's the first major difference from C. In safe Rust, you mostly work with references. This Rust program defines a function print value that takes an immutable reference to an integer as its argument. The main function initializes a local variable and calls the print value function, passing a reference to the value variable instead of the value itself. This avoids copying the integer and adheres to Rust's ownership system by borrowing the value for the duration of the function call, resulting in the output 42. This is safe because Rust enforces no dangling references, no use after free, no data races. Now let's look at raw pointers. Alright, our 1 is a raw const pointer, and our 2 is a raw mutable pointer. Creating raw pointers is always safe. Dereferencing them is an unsafe operation. That dereference is where the responsibility transfers to you. Inside the unsafe block, we read our 1 and write via our 2. If those pointers were dangling or aliased incorrectly, or pointed at unmapped memory, that would be undefined behavior. The compiler won't protect you. That's why we put it in a tiny, auditable unsafe block and reason about it. Raw pointers are lightweight and don't participate in borrowing rules. They don't track lifetimes to prevent aliasing. That flexibility is powerful for things like FFI, custom allocators, and intrusive data structures. Next, let's do a slightly more advanced example, converting a heap allocation to a raw pointer and back. This pattern is used when implementing your own smart pointer or when interfacing with C APIs that take ownership of memory. Using box into raw stops Rust from automatically managing the data, meaning it won't be deleted when the variable goes out of scope, and instead hands you a raw memory address that you must manage yourself. You must eventually call from raw exactly once to reconstitute the box and let Rust drop it. If you call from raw twice, you'll double free. If you never call it, you'll leak. This pattern is common when storing heap allocations in C APIs or lock-free structures. Now let's play with slices from raw parts, an unsafe but highly useful low-level building block when you need to construct a slice from raw memory. Why would you do this? Sometimes you want to hand a raw buffer to C and then reclaim it, or you need to mutate a buffer with special alignment guarantees, or implement your own container. The key rule here is you must ensure the pointer and length are valid, and that the memory is still owned by whoever is responsible to free it. By calling forget, you tell Rust to stop its automatic cleanup rules, preventing the memory from being deleted when the original vector variable goes out of scope. Inside the unsafe block, from raw parts mud is used to create a temporary, usable view of that raw memory address, allowing you to modify the data directly. To avoid a permanent memory leak, we use from raw parts to rewrap the raw address back into a managed vector, ensuring that Rust's standard cleanup process will eventually free the memory when the new _vec variable is dropped. This is critical to understand. Unsafe does not mean turn off all safety. This code is dangerous. Rust stops checking everything. What it actually means is, I am manually upholding Rust's safety guarantees. The compiler still checks. Types. Lifetimes where possible. Borrow rules outside unsafe blocks. Only 5 things require unsafe in Rust. Dereferencing raw pointers. Calling unsafe functions. Accessing mutable static variables. Implementing unsafe traits. Accessing fields of unions. Everything else remains safe. Now let's do something very systems level. We'll manually allocate memory. Let me explain this. We ask the allocator for memory large enough to store an I32. We get back a raw pointer. We write to it manually. We read from it manually. We deallocate it manually. This is exactly what C does. But Rust forces you to define the layout, handle null pointers, Deallocate correctly. You don't accidentally do this. You opt in. Let's look at another example with array. First, we calculate the required memory layout for an array of 10 U64 integers. We then use alloc to request that memory from the system and checking if the allocation failed. If successful, we iterate to initialize the allocated memory, using pointer.add.write to store even numbers from 0 up to 18 directly into the memory location, and then uses pointer.add.read to print these values. Finally, we call dealloc to free the allocated memory block, preventing a memory leak. A few safety rules with alloc. The layout must match exactly between allocation and deallocation, size and alignment. You must not use read before a memory location has been initialized. Be careful with potential overflows when computing sizes. Prefer layout, array, rather than manually doing size into count. If the pointer is null, handling is required. Handle alloc error will abort or panic. Now let's talk about unsafe cell and interior mutability, a crucial concept for safe abstractions that still need mutation under the hood. The core idea behind interior mutability in Rust is to allow data to be changed even when you only have a shared reference to it, like having a read-only view. Ordinarily, a shared reference means the data is immutable, while changing data requires an exclusive, mutable reference. However, for building useful types like thread-safe counters or containers, like mutex refcell, this strict rule must be bypassed. The unsafe cell is the primitive the compiler respects. It tells the compiler, I will manage aliasing or immutability rules myself. Here's a small example implementing unsafe cell. This myCell shows the building block. It wraps a value inside an unsafe cell, providing a bridge between shared access and mutation. Unsafe cell allows you to obtain a raw pointer and perform writes. The get function works similarly, turning that raw pointer back into a standard shared reference so the value can be read safely. Finally, by manually labeling the type as safe to share across threads, the sync trait, the programmer takes full responsibility that concurrent access is properly synchronized. Let's discuss undefined behavior briefly, because understanding undefined behavior is crucial when writing unsafe code. Undefined behavior includes things like dereferencing dangling pointers, creating two mutable references to the same memory simultaneously, violating alignment, or using an invalid value for a type, like calling a function pointer that isn't valid. Here's an example that is invalid. The compiler prevents it. But in unsafe land, you can create pointers that alias and then dereference them unsafely. That's why we must take extra care when converting raw pointers back into references. A widely used rule is, create a safe abstraction that checks invariants and keeps the unsafe code as small and well-tested as possible. In systems programming, memory layout matters. By default, Rust is free to reorder fields for optimization. If you need C-compatible layout, use this attribute to represent this like AC struct. By adding this attribute, you are explicitly telling the Rust compiler to use the C language's layout rules, which guarantees that the fields X and Y will appear in memory in the exact order they are written in the code. This is essential for interoperability, as it allows you to safely pass this struct to programs written in C or C++, or use it with low-level hardware interfaces that expect a predictable, stable memory structure. This guarantees field order, alignment, ABI compatibility. This is essential when interfacing with C, writing drivers, doing FFI, writing kernels or embedded code. Now let's look at FFI, calling into C, or exposing Rust to C. Let's call a C function. The extern C block declares a function named abs, which is a standard C library function for calculating absolute values, signaling to the Rust compiler that the function's definition exists outside of Rust and follows the C calling convention. Because the Rust compiler cannot verify the safety or memory management of code written in another language, calling the abs function must be wrapped in an unsafe block. Inside main, the program successfully calls this external C function with the value -42, receives the result and prints it, illustrating how Rust can leverage existing C ecosystems while explicitly marking the boundary where its own safety guarantees cannot be enforced. This is foreign function interface. Rust trusts you to match the function signature, respect calling conventions, ensure memory safety. This is how Rust replaces C in existing systems. Now suppose you have a small C function. In real-world scenario, we would create a build script that runs before your Rust code compiles. It tells the C compiler to turn example.c into a static library. Now in Rust, we can call it like this. We use CString because C expects a null-terminated string. Passing pointers across FFI requires careful ownership rules. If C stores the pointer and uses it later, you must ensure the memory stays valid until C is done. That often means allocating with C allocator, for example malloc, or letting C own the memory. Exposing Rust functions to C is similar. No mangle prevents the Rust compiler from changing the exported symbol name, and extern C specifies the C application binary interface. This enables C programs to call your Rust function. In the previous example, Rust was the guest calling a C host. Here, Rust becomes the host, providing a service that C can call. FFI is a very common systems pattern. Device drivers, high-performance libraries, or platform interop all rely on it. Now let's talk about volatile memory access and memory-mapped input-output. When dealing with hardware or memory-mapped I/O, you cannot let the compiler optimize reads or writes. You must use volatile reads or writes so the compiler will not elide them. This pattern is used in embedded or OS code where you talk to devices. Write volatile and read volatile tell the compiler that these reads or writes have side effects and must actually occur exactly in program order as written, as far as the compiler is concerned. This is critical for embedded systems, device registers, kernel development. Rust makes this explicit, no hidden behavior. Now let's look at a few examples. Now let's implement a safe wrapper around unsafe code, a key practice. The idea is you write minimal unsafe internals and expose a safe API. Example, a tiny bump allocator. This is a simplified bump allocator. It fulfills the global alloc trait requirements using atomics to ensure that multiple threads can safely request memory at the same time without causing data races. Inside the alloc function, it performs bitwise math to ensure the memory is properly aligned for the requested data type, and uses a compare exchange loop to update the next available memory address. By marking this allocator with the global allocator attribute, the entire Rust program, including standard types like box and vec, will use this custom logic for all heap allocations instead of the default system allocator. In production, you need more care, alignment tricks, handling zero-size types, and cooperating with the runtime. But the pattern is the same. Isolate unsafe and provide a safe surface. Another example, building a custom smart pointer. Imagine we want a mybox that behaves like box. The core idea uses alloc and drop. The important bits, we allocate raw memory, write the value into it with write function, and when mybox is dropped we run drop in place to run the destructor of T, and then delock the memory. The API we expose, new as ref as mut, is perfectly safe. We encapsulated unsafety and ensure invariance in the implementation. Finally, let's cover a few best practices I always recommend. First, minimize unsafe. Use unsafe only where necessary and keep the unsafe blocks as small as possible. The smaller the unsafe block, the easier it is to audit. Second, document invariance. If you write an unsafe function, comment exactly what the caller must guarantee. Third, wrap unsafe in safe abstractions. Expose a safe API that enforces invariance for buyers of your library. Consumers should not have to write unsafe to use your type. Fourth, write rigorous tests. Tests should cover boundary conditions and invalid usage where appropriate. Fifth, code review. Unsafe code needs extra eyes. Sixth, prefer existing, well-audited crates for low-level tasks, allocators, lock-free containers, FFI glue, rather than rolling your own, unless you have a good reason. Here's how I want you to think about unsafe Rust. Safe Rust is like driving with guardrails. Unsafe Rust is like driving on a racetrack. You can go faster. You have more control. But you must know the rules. Rust doesn't stop you. It makes you explicitly acknowledge responsibility. Let me say this clearly. Unsafe Rust is not bad. Unsafe Rust is necessary for systems programming. What makes Rust special is not that it avoids unsafe code. It's that unsafe code is explicit, isolated, auditable, minimized. And because of that, Rust gives us something revolutionary: the power of C with safety guarantees.